It's the South Florida Morning Show with Jennifer Ross and Bill Adams on News Talk 850 WFTL.
It's my job as a state's attorney to go defend what he's done and what the legislature's done. I'm perfectly comfortable doing that.
Karen was just talking about the delay in the vax mandate, Jen, and that's a big reason why right there, that guy, Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of the state of Texas.
Yeah, if you have a business with over 100 and more employees and you were told the employees have to be vaccinated by January 4th, forget about it. It's going all the way to the Supreme Court.
They're not going to win.
No, I don't think
it's illegal.
So. When the 5th District Court of Appeals called their ruling staggeringly overboard with the federal government demanding that you get a vaccine for your employees.
That's a strong wording.
That's strong wording. I can't imagine the Supreme Court, if they even hear it, which I'm sure they will, but it's going to go against the 5th District Court. I really don't. Usually they kind of stay in the same guidelines there. So
I don't think so.
I don't know, unless you get some incredible proof that they didn't give to the 5th District Court. I don't know. How do you demand that somebody get a vaccination? It's crazy.
You can't. You know what would be insane, too? So this thing is not required right now because of the delay. So can you imagine? And I'm sure they're out there. Companies that actually are going through with it anyway and insisting their employees get it. That's what's going to get you sued.
I think FedEx is one of the biggest companies doing it.
Still?
Well, they were. I don't know now. How do you feel, though, if you were forced to get a vaccination?
Yeah.
And you were against it, but you were forced to because, you want to keep your job, understandably. And now you get this reprieve. You're thinking, I could have waited.
Right.
Do you have a lawsuit against your company?
I think you do.
What if the Supreme Court comes back and says companies can't mandate it, but all of these people who are forced to get it that work in the healthcare business, whatever the case may be, do you have any recourse against your company?
Ooh, maybe. Or maybe, from this point on with these people in companies now. See, if you work for one of these companies insisting on it, why would you get it?
It's
forced to get it unless you absolutely wanted to. In that case, the point's moot, but still.
I think most people, if you were going to get it, you were going to show up right away.
Right.
It was just that simple. Because they get it. They only 3% of kids 5+, by the way, have gotten this shot.
Oh no, it's a big success. They keep telling me.
Yeah, sure it is. Yeah.
Right.
I was with 4 little kids yesterday. Not one of them has been vaccinated, by the way. And their parents aren't going to force them to.
No,
they're not going to take them to go get
I don't know of
vaccination.
any. No. Remember the original propaganda they were sending out there, though? They had all those sound bites, and they kept showing the news reports of these. My daughter was begging me to bring her to get the vaccine. No kid is begging their parent to go get a shot.
Well, and what 5-year-old even knows what a vaccination is other than it's the thing I go to the doctors for to get that makes me cry.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
What happened to that?
Let's be honest. My kids hated going to the doctor because usually the first couple of times their trips to the doctor are to get a shot.
Exactly.
Because they're getting other vaccinations. And then they get there's a couple of weeks in between, similar to this one. But it's like, their legs hurt, poor little things, and you feel so badly. And so now you're going to take them to get another one of those?
Yeah.
No.
In better news,
please.
Saw your picture, you two. How was the air show?
It was great. There was none of that.
It's the only plane I had.
However, the really cool thing, I got to meet.
I'll find a better plane.
Please,
okay.
Yeah, that's the kind of plane I think of. Diener and I get to meet Diener's family finally after all these years of working together.
They exist.
I think he's been keeping him in a basement. I'll tell you this: his wife is a scream, and she is the antithesis of Diener. I'm like, how the hell do you two get together?
She's drinking, swearing.
Oh, she's hysterical. Yeah. She's the crazy one out of that bunch. And
absolutely.
His children, they didn't talk very much. They're kind of like my granddaughter. Nora didn't say anything.
Yeah,
she just kind of stared at him.
Very shy.
Yeah.
But no, it was fun. It was a great time and lots of not bad explosions. Like they had mock explosions.
Yeah,
like
with
the plane
A-10.
was dropping a bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like.
Wait a minute, I can play this. Hold on.
Yeah, the whole field blew up. It was wild.
It wasn't like that though.
Yeah, no, it was all big black smoke and fire. Yeah,
they did.
It was incredible. It was the A-10, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
And
I didn't know there was fire.
They did They did the F-16s. They did the A-10, and then the C-130 cargo plane came by, and it's like,
doesn't it? When you're near it, it doesn't look like it should be flying.
It looks like it's going to fall out of the sky.
Yeah,
it's going
it's
so
weird.
slow. It's like, oh my God, it's going to fall. I thought it was going to fall. It is. It's like a dirigible.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
And it carries everything. That's what you jumped out of?
Yeah, that's what they have.
How
is that
long
right?
did it take you to get up there? Because it like
I don't know.
lumbers.
I remember it was a couple of years ago. We kept flying around looking for a hole. They said we're looking for a hole in the clouds.
Oh, I thought you meant like in the ground.
No.
Like, what are you jumping
We might have made a
into?
hole. And then I remember too because they had one of the SEALs there. He's hanging off. There's no strap. He's literally leaning over the back end of the C-130, looking at the Earth, like leaning out over it, and they throw out these
my
little test
God.
things to see the wind conditions. He's like leaning.
Wow.
He's leaning
No
way
thanks.
out, holding on by one hand. He's like, yeah, I think we can go now.
They're
Wow,
crazy.
these guys are insane.
And you know who else was insane? And I think it was the DEA. The Martin County Sheriff's Office came out with their helicopter, and then this really cool-looking black helicopter took to the skies. And I think it was
black
the,
helicopters.
I think it was the DEA's. But the next thing you know, they throw the rope out. Somebody comes flying out of the helicopter and rappels down.
Oh, man.
And then the next thing you know, 3 more guys or girls, I couldn't tell if they were men or women, come flying down like little ants down this little rappelling rope, and then they stop. And they just like get in position, and then the flag comes out behind them, and then they start flying around, hanging onto this rope
With a big American flag
with
in the
a
back.
flag. It was like so cool. But
Yeah.
That's
I'm
what we're
looking at
putting you
them,
on next year.
That's
I'm
right.
like, these people are crazy.
It was nuts. They're just hanging onto the rope as the helicopter's flying around. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And I think those swings are bad at the fair. It was like really incredible.
They love it though.
It-
They
I
live
guess,
for this stuff.
You know what? My youngest was with us, and she's like, "I want to do that." I went, "No, over my dead body. That ain't happening."
Stick
no.
with the horses, kid.
Yeah, stay on the ground.
I was excited
That's
to meet
cool, though.
Nora. Little Nora. I finally
Little
met
Nora.
her.
It's a
Yeah.
cute little thing, isn't
Yeah.
she?
Did she like the planes?
Oh, she loved it. She didn't like the sound though.
Yeah, it's loud.
She-
It is loud there.
She was like holding her ears and yeah.
Wow.
And we even had little earmuffs for her. We left them on the kitchen table.
It happens.
But it was fun. And you were at Paws in the Park.
Yeah, Paws in the Park was good. That was fun. It was good. Nice
You
to
brought
see everybody.
Cooper. Did he try to bite anybody or?
No, he was good.
Yeah.
No, he was good. I'm always amazed. Tracy, we work with on our other station, was there too. We said the same thing. You have hundreds and hundreds of dogs at once, and there's never any incidents.
You're right. And then you
It's
go down the
amazing.
street with your dog and he tries to
Right.
fight everybody. I think it's a territorial thing when you're at home.
What it is, it's a weird thing, but it was nice. But we got something special going on Mars. That's right, Mars. They're growing tomatoes.
How do you like that?
Tomatoes, if you will.
Isn't that cool?
We got that, and apparently, the White House is in an internal, all-out war.
No, they're not.
Oh yeah.
No, they're not.
When
Bill.
they say they're not, they are.
Can you imagine? And they even got Jen Psaki to tweet about it yesterday, working on a Sunday.
We're not fighting with each other. Yeah, that means something else.
Sure you are.
We got that and more coming up next. The South Florida Morning Show. This is Jen. I'm Bill. Keep it here. And news time again, almost. Coming up in a couple of minutes. Karen, what's happening?
They are bracing for it in Kenosha.
He brought that gun for protection. And to this day, if he didn't have that gun, my son would have been dead.
So that's Wendy Rittenhouse, Kyle's mom.
That's a great statement, though. Short, sweet, gets to the point. If you're just like new to the trial, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense to me.
That's right.
Did she testify, or is that just like
No,
comment off
she's-
the side?
The comment off the side.
A lot of media, though. It's interesting. And you got a good point on this on Friday, Jen, that everybody rested, weekends out. People have time to catch up on what's going on with this trial. And they sent the mom out to do a lot of media. You think it was all by design?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, well,
I think after she talked the first time, isn't that when they dropped the charges? Like they lowered the charges.
They
It's
lesser
not
charged-
first-degree murder. It's like second-degree manslaughter or whatever it is. I don't know.
And reckless manslaughter instead of intentional. But closing arguments are today, and a lot of people have been going to Kenosha, including the National Guard, extra police.
Good.
Because when this verdict comes out, they don't know what's going to happen.
Well, they could get it late this afternoon because each side gets 2.5 hours. So they start court, at 9 o'clock?
Yeah, I think.
Central
So-
time, though.
Yeah, but I know not for us, but 9 o'clock Central Time. So figure they'll go to lunch, take a break, then the defense gets to give its closing arguments, and then the jury can get it. So maybe by 3 o'clock this
Could be.
afternoon.
Could be.
So unlike during the riots when this whole thing led to this, there will be National Guard troops there.
Yes.
Unlike last year when
Right,
they
good point.
refused to bring in National Guard troops.
Good point. Very good point.
Hey.
But and then you've also got the Ahmaud Arbery trial going on. That's a whole nother thing. You've got the
Yeah, and you know
reverends in
what?
the audience. But there was a police officer that said, hey, I was going to arrest him for trespassing if he showed up at that house one more time. So he did testify to that. But he said, I did not deputize the guys that shot him.
Yeah, but it's like they stalked this kid.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
awful.
they did.
It
It
was
was bad.
horrible.
It was bad.
It was bad.
That's not. I mean, that's my opinion. Nobody else's. So I mean, but it doesn't look good.
No, well, no. They're
You
probably.
know, but no one's paying attention to it. All they talk about is this Kyle Rittenhouse kid.
That's why I brought it up.
Thank you.
Well, and thank you for doing that. Hardly anybody talks about that
you're
case.
right. No one's talking about it. It's like, oh my God.
That was bad. So that we're coming up.
All right, Karen, thanks so much. See you a little over 10 minutes for news and fact. At the bottom of the hour, News Talk 850 WFTL. It's the South Florida Morning Show. Speaking of the Rittenhouse trial,
Yes.
here's one legal expert. His name is David Henderson. He's got a hot legal take of what it means to lessen the charges. Here's what he says.
The prosecution's decision to ask for the lesser charges lets me know they have not met their burden of proof. They realize this case is in trouble.
Okay, so is that a sign?
Yeah, without a doubt. Bringing in the National Guard is another big sign. The question is, they say the longer the jury takes, the better it is for in this case would be the prosecution, because they're going through
really?
all the evidence. Yeah, if they come back
Okay.
usually right away, look how long they took in the O.J. Simpson case.
How long was it? I don't remember that.
A couple of days.
Was it really that long?
I think so. They kept on asking for clarifying
Yeah.
this and clarifying that, and everyone kept on saying, that's good for O.J. I don't know. I guess if they came back right away, they would have found him guilty.
This looks clear as day to me. I mean, good Lord. It looks
Yeah,
like
but
the clearest case of self-defense of all time.
It's so true, and that's what we've seen. However, we don't know what the jury has heard altogether, what was allowed as evidence, what was told in the courtroom. But for the prosecutor to lower the charges, yeah, they know they're in trouble. Especially, you know what? That's when they say, do you go for first-degree murder or do you go or premeditated or for second degree? Because first-degree murder, I mean, that's really, really hard to prove. And if you lose it, the guy's walking or the girl's walking, and they may be guilty. But
Yeah.
so you got to, what amazes me is you're allowed to change the rules at the end of the game.
Yeah, well, you know what? I thought that same thing. I didn't know you could do that. But does that mean you could, in a different kind of case, increase the charges?
I've never heard of that happening, but yeah, I would assume as such if you have the opportunity to change them. I was like, isn't that like changing the rules in the middle of the game?
I guess. I don't know.
Well, whatever. So we'll see what happens. But obviously, they think it could be an innocent verdict because they're bringing in all these National Guards people.
Yeah, good point. That should be most telling of all. Here's what I want an investigation into. Did you see this over the weekend? More and more people are accusing the prosecution of doctoring evidence.
I did see this. How did that? Well, if that's the case, it's a mistrial, and the kid should, they'll give him a new trial, unfortunately. But if they're doctoring the evidence to go against him
in the form of photos,
yeah, that should be the case should be dismissed.
No, the prosecution should be in jail.
Yeah,
they should be charged if they did that.
What did they do?
They're claiming apparently, this is all. Who knows? No one's proven this yet, but they're looking at side-by-side photos that have been lightened up. The ones that the prosecution uses, really, it looks like Rittenhouse is running around with, gun up in a active shooter position.
Right.
They say some people forensically are saying they can prove that he never, ever in that photograph had his gun up like that. It was always down in the, when you're walking around in a safety position with the rifle.
Really?
I don't know. But can you imagine that?
But don't they have experts that come in to verify pictures and evidence?
They should. I guess that hasn't been the focus. I don't know.
Because that's not good.
No.
Not good at all.
Not at all.
It's almost as bad as what's going on in the White House.
Oh, boy.
You're right. You brought this up a good month ago, that there is huge fighting going on between the Harris camp and the Biden camp.
It's what we've always heard.
Wow.
And that popped up right after they sent her or deemed her the border czar, remember? All right.
Oh, yeah.
The border is a complete disaster. You're in charge.
Right.
Well, now Jen Psaki comes out, back from COVID, by the way, with a statement that looks so guilty.
Yeah, she actually had a tweet yesterday because of the sinking numbers in the polls in regard to Kamala Harris and the Biden administration in general. Her quote was, "For anyone who needs to hear it, the vice president is not only a vital part to POTUS, but a bold leader who has taken on key important challenges facing the country, from voting rights to addressing root causes of migration to expanding broadband."
Let's translate out of the swamp for you. They hate each other.
They hate each other. Well, this she put out after the vice president's office tweeted, "It's unfortunate that after a productive trip to France, in which we reaffirmed our relationship with America's oldest ally," that you just stabbed in the back, and demonstrated U.S. leadership on the world stage, blah, 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 blah. You're not talking about that, but what you're talking about are the results that the president and the vice president have in the polls. and that we hate each other, basically.
Such a bunch of malarkey. World stage, the world was mocking her for putting on a fake French accent.
Oh no, Bill. She was propped up by the American people because we love that.
Oh my God.
We enjoyed her attempt to be French. I'm like, boy, even I could attempt a lot better, and I can't do an accent.
That is ridiculous.
So anyway.
I think it's the infighting that with the two squads, the two teams, the VP and the P. It's worse than I even imagined. I think if they come out with a statement like that.
Well, come on, he sent her to France. Hello, they're signing that infrastructure bill today.
You know what?
Was she going to be there? Hi there,
Hi
Diener.
guys.
Diener.
Sorry. You know what it kind of reminds me of in like a sports analogy? When you have a team that was like on paper supposed to be good.
Oh, yeah.
People were excited about, then they start losing, and everybody realizes, oh, wow, this team is garbage.
Yeah.
You start to hear reports of the infighting in the locker room and players going after each other and coaches. And
Like the Bucks.
right,
I was going to say, is this going to happen with Tampa Bay?
Did you see Grumpy Brady yesterday?
Oh, he's
Cut
very
the press
grumpy.
conference short, and his coach throwing him under the bus.
No, really?
Still having fun there, Tom.
Hey, don't pick on Tommy.
I'm not at all. I hate that stupid organization he's with now. Anyway,
We didn't get to the
no,
Oh,
this
Mars.
is a great story.
It is. And thank you to Heinz Ketchup for it.
It reminds us of The Martian. Remember the Matt Damon movie?
How could we forget with those awesome lines that he had?
They're growing tomatoes on Mars now.
Isn't that great?
Or will. It's coming up next. The South Florida Morning Show. This is Jen. I'm Bill. Keep it here. Thank you, Kati. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate the weather. That was a nice surprise. I thought it was going to be like rainy and nasty, and all of a sudden woke up yesterday. It was clear as day and beautiful.
Isn't it nice? Did anybody see any rain? Just out of curiosity, even near the Alabama border, it didn't rain.
No.
It was. I got a little bit windy on Friday night, Saturday morning, and then it was like beautiful. I'm like, this is great.
Perfect weather, too, for this is a big deal all throughout South Florida, because I know a lot of people from even Miami-Dade go up for the Stewart Air Show. I guess you guys were there. It was a good show. It sounded like the crowds were good.
And no one crash landed as Bill is intimidating over here.
That's the only plane sound I have.
Could we
I'm
get
sorry.
another one?
Working on it.
It's so cool to see. First they send up like all the vintage planes. I did a video of the opening and put that up on not only our other radio station's website and Facebook page, but on my own Facebook page. They come in, and I don't know who's flying because I didn't hear the announcer. I don't know if it was the Navy SEALs brought in the flag. Who brought in the flag? They jump out of the plane, and then they open up this huge American flag and carry it down. It's like, wow.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
So it was a good event. Good to see that all happened. In the meantime, in the swamp, did you see our Treasury Secretary, who I'm convinced now is a full-on communist?
She sounds much older than what she is. So every time I hear Janet Yellen speak, I'm like, how old is this woman? She's a pretty smart lady, but I didn't like what she said yesterday.
I didn't want to believe it. I am convinced now that they want inflation to last forever. They really do.
She's saying it's going to last until the middle of next year. Oh, and don't worry about it. You can afford everything.
It really depends on the pandemic. The pandemic has been calling the shots for the economy and for inflation.
It is.
We're going to sink our economy because of a virus, is basically what this is saying. You get what you get, and you don't get upset.
And there was, I forget who the girl was, one of the anchors on MSNBC, said, oh, don't worry about it. She said, these people that tell you that they can't afford food, they can afford it because they're calling her Stephanie Antoinette. After she said Americans can afford the Stephanie rule. Yeah, they said that now she's Stephanie Antoinette because she basically says, let them eat cake.
Yeah, exactly.
She said, don't tell me. She says, here's a dirty little secret she was telling that Willie guy, Geist. She said, people have the money to pay more. They just don't want to let you know how much they have in savings. I'm like, okay, so now you're depleting your savings so you can feed your family. But that's okay. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
They don't care. It's very advantageous for them. They want more people dependent. They don't care. I mean, after listening to her yesterday, nah, they want this.
It's horrible.
They want this to happen.
It's like, stop. Well, thank goodness we're going to be growing, Mars tomatoes because, we're all going to need that extra food, and maybe the government will give it to us when we stand in the bread line, Bill.
Seriously.
Jeez.
Good Lord.
This was our... Isn't it sad? All the things that are going on in the world, this was one of our favorite stories.
But the vax mandate thing, I guess, is going to be delayed.
Well, now, see, the 5th District Court of Appeals, and I don't know where they are. Out of Washington, is that the 5th District? That's the 11th District. But anyway, wherever the 5th District is, the 5th District Court of Appeals said it was staggeringly overreaching by the federal government to demand that companies that have 100 employees or more demand that their employees get vaccinated. You can't do that. It's like un-American.
And for them to make that statement, I mean, that's a strong statement to come out with, right?
That's a really big, strong statement. So now, of course, the federal government, that being the Biden administration, is going to fight it tooth and nail. They're going to take it to the Supreme Court. I'm not an attorney. Obviously, I'm not a judge. But when you hear the lesser court say staggeringly overreaching and overbroad, that usually doesn't bear well for the person they're against. So I foresee that the Biden administration is going to lose in the Supreme Court.
How could it hold up? How could it? It's already got two not losses, but delays anyway.
Yeah, then they come back and they use different tactics and they do this, But then again, you're paying probably a team, if not two, entire attorney houses and groups to defend this and fight for it in Supreme Court. You need special attorneys for this. This is not cheap, this lawsuit.
No, you're exactly right.
This is millions and millions of taxpayer dollars going to fight something that a lot of people think's foolish to begin with.
I find it amazing that there are still companies out there knowing it's not law yet, it's not a mandate yet, even, but they're still forcing their employees to do it anyway. You can say no.
Well, yeah, now you can say no because now they have no legal ground to stand on to make you get it other than, all of a sudden it's company policy and it's privately owned and they say either get the vaccination or we're going to fire you, which I guess they still can do. But in the event this gets overturned in the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court says the federal government overreached, blah, 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 you shouldn't have been forced to get a vaccination. Do not all of these people who lost their jobs have recourse now, legally?
Yeah, good
to
point.
Sue.
They probably do. I think they do. You're right.
I would love to be in a law school right now to see how they're changing classes to deal with all of this nonsense.
Be amazing.
It's scary. Really is.
And you're right about the Martian story. We're going to need these tomatoes when we all have to leave Earth. Because
go live on Mars.
Because the Biden administration is going to scare us off. But this is pretty amazing.
And what's even more amazing is it's right here in, up the street. It's Brevard County.
How about that?
It's the Florida Institute of Technology. I guess it's in Melbourne. They have I guess they have a facility there at school, and they have teamed up with Heinz. I guess Heinz paid for all of the research for this. So,
yeah, they would benefit, right?
Yeah, I know they paid for all the research at Ohio State. Ohio State developed another tomato for them, so they paid for all of it. So it's going to be what are they calling it? The Mars Edition ketchup.
Well, we did learn a couple of years ago from Hollywood, you can grow things on Mars.
I am the greatest botanist on this planet.
I love that movie.
That was the clean version, by the way.
Yeah. And I thought he actually yelled it too at one point after.
He might have.
When he walked out of his little grow tent there, he came out on the surface of Mars and screamed, "I am the greatest botanist."
You know what is interesting though? Heinz actually came out with, they've trademarked the actual product to come out with this.
Oh, really?
Mars Edition Ketchup is the name of it.
But they spelled it M-A-R-Z.
Right.
I guess you can't trademark
to play on Heinz.
Oh, okay. Thank you for explaining that to me. I'm a little slow today.
That's pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool, though. So the question is, what they did was, how did they imitate life on the planet Mars, though, here? Kind of like, I guess, what Matt Damon did in the movie, but still, it's pretty cool. They reenacted what the conditions are like on Mars here in a lab on Earth, obviously, and that's where they grew them. Took them like 2 years to do it.
Could have just done it in Arizona, but I'm glad they did it here.
They don't have any grass in that state.
Dry and arid.
Yeah, not me. No, not me.
All right, we got, I guess, National Guard troops, Karen was saying, on the ground in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Getting ready for today. It's closing arguments.
Yeah, and the jury could get the case by this afternoon. That'd be interesting.
And this happened on Friday. You predicted this would happen. You were right. Britney Spears is totally free. I got a bone to pick with the Britney army, though.
Why?
Oh, boy. It's like cult-like.
Oh, yeah, they're kind of creepy.
I mean, we've been rooting for her, but come on now. What do you hear from some of these people? It's a little much.
Yes, they are a little much. How do you think she feels? Maybe that's how she got the way she got. People like that following her around all day.
That may be.
Jeez.
They're loyal, though.
Yes, to the point.
I think they're just nuts. We'll get that and more coming up next. The South Florida Morning Show. This is Jen, Bill. Keep it here. News time coming up again. Karen, what do you got coming up?
Well, this Astro World death toll keeps going up. Now, 10 dead.
God.
the 9-year-old boy died over the weekend. Remember, he was on his dad's shoulders.
What are you taking a 9-year-old kid to this for?
Fell off, got trampled.
The father passed out.
Oh.
And dropped the kid.
Good God.
But they said they talked to, I think it was his wife. They were in the back of the pack.
They were. And they still got trampled.
Hi, I like that. Yeah, because you think it was only the people up in front. I think most of the people that got killed were in the middle.
And then the other one, the 9th one that died last week, was a college student.
Oh,
she had several heart attacks, but it's just tragic all the way around. And
they're taking no responsibility.
No,
this
really
act.
not. You're right. And Travis Scott's got at least 36 civil suits against him, but the FBI is still investigating. Possibly criminal charges could be filed.
You know what's interesting? We had this conversation in the car going to the air show yesterday, and both of my daughters, who are 27 and 30, piped up and said, who are they? Who is he married to? The Kardashians are cursed. And
Always.
I went, wow.
There's always something bad happening.
That's the younger generation saying that to me, and I went, whoa.
Right.
My oldest thinks Kim Kardashian's evil on 2 legs.
And it's never them. It's always a guy related to them through marriage or boyfriend or something. Always.
Always.
Look at Lamar Odom.
All the guys fall from grace.
All of them. Yeah.
So yeah, they're
Name
like
one
maybe they are evil witches.
Maybe they signed a deal with the devil.
Could be. I don't know.
You just misgendered Caitlyn, okay?
Wow.
Oh.
Because now he's not a guy. Yeah. Oops, I just did it too. Sorry. That more coming up.
She'll always be Bruce to me.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, what do you want? Most of life, I knew him as Bruce Jenner. You can't just switch it up on me.
I bought Wheaties because of him.
Damn right.
He was cute in those little shorts.
I think the most famous Wheaties cover ever, I think.
Is it really? Probably. I mean, he was he was like one of the first phenoms at the Olympics for us. So, yeah, it was a big deal.
You know, changed her life around, became a, Caitlyn. That's fine, but why can't I still remember Bruce Jenner is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but no, you can't. Apparently,
I can.
And not in this society, you can't.
Well,
you'll be yelled at.
They can't stop me. Yell all they want. It's the South Florida Morning Show. Hey, Kenosha, Wisconsin, the National Guard is on the ground.
Surprisingly, because they weren't there, as you lovingly and very nicely pointed out, they weren't there the first time because they didn't think they needed them.
Yeah, hence riots broke out.
So it's closing arguments. Each side gets 2.5 hours. So I'm thinking, the defense is going to go, or the prosecution goes first. Defense, I don't know how it works, but whoever goes first, till lunchtime, they'll take a break, and then the other side gives its 2.5 hours after lunch, and then the jury gets it.
Interesting, though, and you pointed this out, I think, over the weekend, Friday, heading into the weekend, the media that Wendy Rittenhouse, Kyle's mom, is doing. Is it all by design that we heard from her a lot over the weekend?
Well, if you're going to pull at somebody's heartstrings, who do you bring in? It's the parents.
Yeah.
And here's a mom who's looking at her, I think, only son, facing life in prison, and she doesn't think he did anything wrong. So if you're going to believe anybody, and you want to bring in the emotional aspect of it, get the mother to come in and talk about her son.
She sure did.
Yeah, although any mother would probably do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sure, but listen to what she says, and this is a great statement. It is.
A lot of people shouldn't have been there, and he brought that gun for protection. And to this day, if he didn't have that gun, my son would have been dead.
She's right, and that simple statement makes a lot of people understand the case. Because a lot, listen, not everybody's following this thing like we are, even though it's a huge, huge story. So you're trying to get the gist of it. You hear her say that, it kind of wraps it up, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, especially when she said at the very beginning, because the question must have been, why was he there? He shouldn't have been there to begin with. And that's when she said, well, a lot of people shouldn't have been there to begin with. And, it puts things in, it kind of like justifies both sides. It's
right.
Like, oh, okay, you're right. That people looting and throwing, Molotov cocktails and other people carrying guns and, destroying buildings. Yeah, they shouldn't have been there either. So
Good point.
I listened to her and said, you know what? She makes sense. You're right. It puts things in perspective, and it gives the naysayers the other side of the story. Because a lot of people think, oh, he's just guilty. Well, all of Hollywood thinks he should be fried, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
It's like they're horrible.
Today, the president is going to sign that infrastructure bill into law. It'll be a White House ceremony. Big win.
Oh, yes.
They're going to do a victory lap.
With both sides represented, who from the Republicans is going to be there?
Oh, man. Who is?
Because I'm going to instantly dislike them, whoever it is.
Well, you'll have the turtle there. Mitch McConnell will be there.
Well, this is the one that's not so bad. This is the one that actually has something to do with financing infrastructure, bridges, tunnels, roads, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't this green light the other one?
It green lights the other one, which they assume that they're going to pass this week. They're going to vote on it. So there's another $3 trillion. I'm telling you, this administration thinks the money tree in the back of the White House is going to pay for all of this. And if you think it's not going to affect you one way or another, then you need to go study some kind of economic class.
Of course it is.
Everyone will be affected by this, regardless of what this administration is telling you.
But it's even, as I understand it, with this infrastructure bill, it's going to just, again, like you said, it adds to the inflation tab. Trump's plan pretty much paid for itself.
Right.
And it was ready to go 4 years ago.
Yeah,
and everybody agreed.
Yeah. Wow.
You know who didn't get that done across the border? Because remember, at the beginning, they had the majority and everything. They had everything they needed. The useless Republican leadership, like Mitch McConnell.
Yeah,
he's got to go.
Yeah, he's. I think as slow as he is.
Oh my God!
It's like, come on, you know what? Get a little progressive.
He'll be there.
Get
today.
a little, into the century.
Get progressive, but don't be a progressive.
Right.
He'll be there today. I just showed up for the sandwiches. Maybe there's free pens. It's happened on Friday, as expected. Britney is totally and completely free.
Yay!
We knew that was coming, though, right?
Yeah, it was kind of a foregone conclusion, I think.
Because I think we supported her. I do not want to, in any way, shape, or form, want to be lumped in with these people, though.
Listen to the guy on the megaphone, like leading them all on.
They're chanting, by the way.
Okay.
Britney's body, Britney's choice.
Right.
Okay, this is like cultish. It's a little much.
It was the woman. Do you have her?
Oh, we got
her. Is
her.
she like the Britney president, the fan club?
Who has this much time to dedicate their lives to somebody else's life like this? That somebody you'll never know.
Today's the day. Today's the day Britney's free. Today's the day we celebrate her freedom and we move on to the next step of justice.
You're a fan and she's a celebrity. What are you doing?
Wow. Yeah. She tweeted herself. I think she posted something in a video on her Instagram, account. She said, "Oh God, God, I love my fans so much. It's crazy. I'm gonna cry the rest of the day. Best day ever."
I get that.
Oh yeah.
No, thanks, fans.
For coming out and supporting me, and I appreciate it. But still, yeah. Her attorney was there. She wasn't in court. She was home. And she's done. It's all over. She has total control of her life now.
Quite a win. And now isn't this a big, legal precedent?
Well, if I had somebody that was in control of my money and I was of sound mind and body, I'd be telling my attorney, go after him now because the precedent has been set and maybe we can get me back in control of my own belongings. It's usually you see this kind of thing where people, when it comes to money, the worst in people come out. So you get a grandmother that's, not in the best of health, so you're going to push her off the cliff by doing this.
It's true.
I don't mean to put it that bluntly, but that's what you're doing.
Who was it? I think it was Ted Cruz. She had a big ally in Ted Cruz. He's been fighting these conservatorships. I forget. Remember the number he came out with?
It was a lot.
It's like 100,000 of these cases across the country, or people are just like slaves.
It's horrible.
They may be nuts. And she's a little nuts, but I mean, still, you can't take their whole life away.
Well, they take their, usually it's somebody that's elderly, like your dad or your mom or your grandparents have a lot of money and they start. This was a prime case of, what's her name, Nicole Smith there.
Oh,
that was the Marshall there. That's what both sons fought for. They're like, Dad, you're not of sound mind and body. You're giving away billions of dollars to a hooker.
Yeah, it does have, I'm sure the concept, it's there for a reason, but boy, this could be abused.
True.
In her case, it was abused.
In her case, maybe not at the beginning. They took it to an extreme.
They did.
I think somebody should have overseen what she was doing because she did lose it there for a while. But still.
There's only one question left.
What?
How does this guy feel about it today?
Leave Britney alone!
Was he at the rally?
Hello. Whatever happened to him? We never see him anymore.
God only knows.
God.
Maybe he broke out of the cult.
Wow. Well, speaking of singers and speaking of singers that are good looking, like Britney, Carrie Underwood Her Thanksgiving song or her holiday song is back.
Oh, she's got a new one?
Well, no, it's an old one. It's called Stretchy Pants.
Oh.
It's kind of like a holiday cult song, but it's back, but with good reason all the way around. Good news.
Carrie Underwood's yoga pants?
No, they're Stretchy Pants. And they're
Yoga
stretchy.
pants?
No, they're not yoga pants. Oh, it's not her in yoga pants.
Oh.
It's animated figures.
Oh, forget that then. All right, we got that coming up. Some headlines, too. It's all coming up next. The South Florida Morning Show. This is Jen. I'm Bill. Keep it here.